But I think that we need to be equipped to the point that we are at least what Peter said. He said, be ready to give an answer. Not get ready, but be ready. Hey, it is your friendly favorite neighborhood apologist, Damon Richardson, for another edition of UrbanLogia Live. And it has been 2 long weeks, maybe 2.5 at this point, but it's been a while since the last time I've been with you here on this show, and I am glad to be back. And tonight, I want to have an incredible conversation about my time in Africa, and to be able to share many of these experiences with you, and talk about what I saw, what God did, how he showed out, and just so many things. And so before we get started, let's do what we normally do, as is customary. If you would just take a couple of minutes to rep your city, let us know where you are watching from. I'm already looking in the comment section to see who's here, and you all have been waiting. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless you. The Thinker's Bible. I see you, Tyler Lott, my bro. Blessings to you. Chris Gibson, Arlington, Texas, but always repping Flint. I see you, my bro. Blessings to you, Tyler. I know that you're in Dallas, and I don't know if you can see it, but I'm always repping, of course, my Cowboys. And we got Greenville, South Carolina in the house. Thank you. And somebody just said, hey, I liked your video defending the Trinity. Wonderful. Thank you so much for that feedback. And good to be back. Thank you, Willie James. God bless you. Thank you. Who else is watching? Sure can. Welcome back, sir, from Toronto. Thank you. Thank you from Berkeley, California. Welcome back. God bless you. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you all. Thanks for sending me. And thank you for all of your generous gifts of support. And I'm really excited about talking about how far that support went, and just so grateful again for having had the opportunity to go. There we go. Welcome back from Miami, Ace Maine 305. I see you. Yes, indeed. How about them boys? Absolutely, absolutely. And wonderful, wonderful. Well, listen, let's keep coming on in and sharing this share with your friends. Let them know that the conversation is going on. We want more people, obviously, to jump in. This is going to be an incredible show. I've got a guest with me tonight, and maybe if my dear pastor friend Alexander Wade from Huntsville, Alabama, he just came back from Nigeria. He may jump on with us tonight as well. And so listen, stay tuned because we're going to be doing some additional shows talking about some upcoming trips, and we'll be talking about some of the things that we'll be doing in the near future and how you can be a part of that. But listen, tonight, let's get going. Let's talk about all things Zambia. And so listen, let me bring my guest on. She is the vice president of Theo Smith World Ministry Leadership Institute. I always get a little tongue twisted there. And she's going to tell you a little bit about that ministry. This is the ministry that I am working with, and this ministry has been going to Africa for many years, doing an incredible work. And the ministry is named after her father, and so she'll come on with me. We'll have this incredible conversation, and you'll get to ask some questions and inquire as well. And so grateful to have my dear sister, Kimberly Smith, fellow New Yorker, now living in North Carolina. She is on with me tonight, and we're just so grateful for the vision that she has. Got a chance to work side by side with her in the motherland to see her operate. And let me tell you, she knows what she's doing. She knows what she's talking about. And if she says something, you can count on it because it is exactly what she said it is. And she is a fearless leader, godly, powerful, anointed, you name it, knows the word, Bible scholar, and I'm just delighted to know her. Hold on one second. Let's see. Here we go. Sandra Brewer in Beaufort, Georgia. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you again. Blessings, Adela Armstrong. Blessings to you. And so listen. Let me start off with this. So me and Kim's father, who the ministry is actually named after, Theo Smith. We had connected some years ago on Facebook. I tell you, I will say this. I can't speak for Instagram just yet. I'm trying to really build over there. I can't speak for. I can speak for YouTube, and definitely Facebook. But I can say that social media has added some incredible dimension to my life and to my ministry. As a result of it, I have been able to meet people, brothers and sisters in Christ, that who knows, I may have never met. And thank God for the medium of social media and how it has caused my life to be able to intersect with theirs. And so I met Pastor Theo Smith. This was some years ago. And he would always engage, like many of you do, on various posts. And you know, I remember we would be talking Bible, theology, so forth and so on. And sometimes you never know who you're talking to. You never know what they're doing, what they're involved with. And sometimes you don't even know who they are. Sometimes the depth of and the magnitude of who they are and what they mean to other people, you're just taking for granted that you're just talking to somebody on social media. You don't know how they're moving and shaking and doing things in other parts of the world. And you know, but he was always a pleasant. I can tell he was sharp in the word, and we always had wonderful exchanges about scripture, about theology, so forth and so on. But I really didn't know a lot about the fact that, you know, this man was a global leader, a transformational global leader. He, you know, spent decades pastoring, doing missions work all over the world, including various countries in Africa. And when he passed away, right around 2020, somewhere around in the COVID period, although it wasn't from COVID, I was already at that point also connected to my dear sister here. And so we were connected around that time too. I'm not sure if I had put together that was your dad until I think after he passed. Mm-hmm. And you told me that was, you know, but she had said from 5 years ago that, you know, my dad would have loved for you to go on mission with him. That would have been something that I know he would have wanted you to do. And we started talking from then about about going to Africa as a part of that fulfillment. And she just told me so many different things about what to expect and just what God would do. and it just came to pass. I mean, but sometimes things get said, and they're just seeds at that point, and they may not happen right away. But that's, again, in God's timing, in His sovereign plan, He brought it to fruition 5 years later, and I'm going to tell you, it was definitely life changing. Changed a lot of the way that I see things, the way that I understand things, and Africa's very different from a lot of places, and then not different at all in many respects. It's just like any other place, right? In some respects. But one of the things that I will say this, and then jump right in and tell us a little bit more about you, about Theo Smith. But I'll say this, that one of the things I realized is on mission, that things that we may quibble about, go back and forth with, those things are not as important. You don't even see those kind of things as that important when you see the magnitude of the need and what needs to be done. You don't necessarily have as much interest in having tertiary conversations about differences, like whether somebody's using grape juice or real wine in communion, the frequency of it. Is it just Sunday? Is it every Sunday? Guys using wafers or real bread? Like, like, those conversations are irrelevant in the context of missions. Like, you see the real need, you're like, man, what are we doing over there having these kinds of conversations? Like, we have a privilege to be able to have dumb theological conversations against the backdrop of a world that's really crying out for the gospel. It really just gives you perspective. You're like, man, I really need to value more of my time. Like, these conversations are essentially irrelevant in the face of what we could be doing and what we could be talking about, right? And that was one of the things that really struck me, is like, you don't really care about these things. And I know people have different opinions and different views, I would say, biblical and theological views about the role of women in ministry and this, that, or the other. But I'll say this. Go over to Africa and you will be glad for everybody that has put their hands on the deck. Like, you like, all hands on deck. Like, you will be glad for volunteers. You will be glad for men and women. And listen, it will change a lot of the way that you will think. If you got to go out and recruit folk, you would, because the magnitude of the need is so great that it is a luxury to sit here in convenience and have a conversation about whether or not God can use a woman to preach or whatever, when you're like, over there, those kind of conversations, I'm just telling you, those kind of conversations are irrelevant. There's zero traction to that conversation and meaning when you see the field. It's like what Jesus said. He said, hey, listen, the field is already whitened, it's ripened, the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. He says, so pray to the Lord of the harvest that he would send forth laborers, right? And so those are some of my impressions there. Is like, I got over there, I'm like, man, there just needs to be more laborers. Right? There needs to be an abundance of laborers. And listen, and many of you may not know it. You may not even think, maybe it never even crossed your mind, but you don't know. Maybe God will send you over there, or have you go and serve and put your gifts and your servant leadership to use. You never know, right? You just never know. And so listen, I'm telling you, it's so jump right on in, Kim. Talk to us. Tell us a little bit more about yourself. Tell the audience about yourself and about Theo Smith Ministries, what you do, and let's just have a free flowing conversation.
Thank you so much, Damon, for having me on with you. We've been talking about this for a while, not just the Africa mission, but through Facebook, like you said, and social media. The advent of social media is how we initially connected. And I remember very vividly the day my father called me and said, because my dad and I, we talked about all things biblical, all things theological, right? And so one day he called me, it was the evening, and he said, "Who is this guy?" And I'm like, "Who are you talking about, Daddy? Who are you talking about?" And he said, "Damon." And I'm like, "Damon who?" And he's like, "On Facebook." And so I put two and two together. And I said, "Oh, Damon Richardson," as if I had known you then, but I knew the
Right,
Facebook persona according
right,
to my perception of you at the time. And so what he loved about you is very characteristic of how he was, in that he was a fierce advocate for the authenticity of the word, scriptures, and more importantly, he had such a burden for the gospel, right? And he wanted to make sure, and he exemplified before those who knew him and knew him well,
right.
that everything that he did was about the kingdom. His whole mindset was about the kingdom. By the time I was born, my father was already a pastor, so I didn't know the pre-pastor Hulbert Smith. I just knew him as a man whose mind was totally given over to and embedded by the things of God.
Right.
So he really, really loved your ministry. So
Oh,
like you said, and so and my dad was the type of person who he loved to see you do what you do, especially online, because that was him in real time, in person. That was him.
yeah.
And
Oh, wow.
so when it came to the globe, I tell people he was a global. That's how he identified himself. He's a global citizen. Uh, and like you said, sometimes you don't really know who's who. And I could name all kinds of things that the Lord allowed him and blessed him and called him to do. But that's not really essential to what we're doing here. And my dad was not a person who led with those types of things, because he understood that did not make him who he was.
Yeah.
His heart for God and his stature in Christ was so much more deeper and intimate than that. But for all that it's worth, I am so glad, and I tell people that losing someone like him, and I don't, losing is the wrong word, but having to go on in this life without him has been so challenging because of the bond that we have. But this type of thing that we do, called kingdom and ministry,
Right.
it has been a healing salve to my heart. Being in the thrust of what he lived for. I tell people, when I stand to minister, I will always say, long before he passed away, I serve the God of my fathers. The
Yeah.
God of, because in the way he thought and the way I modeled myself after him would be like, I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then I would say I'm serve the God of H.T. Smith, because it was that personal for him.
Right.
And so, that's who he was. But social media was what got me personally into Africa way back. I want to say 2009
Okay.
was my first foray into Africa, and it came through
Hmm.
social media.
Wow.
And that was in Kenya. And I'm just going to take 30 seconds on this. A team out of Nairobi, Kenya, that morning, these were MySpace days. So I
Yeah.
was on MySpace,
Oh, wow.
dialoguing with people, click, 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 click. you
Oh,
know, doing
that's
that.
way back. Yeah.
Yeah, supposed to be working, but I got the MySpace chat open at the same time. And one of the bishops there said that the Lord spoke to him and said to uh, get on MySpace and ask a woman to come, and you would interact with a praying woman. And that very same day, that morning, I heard the audible voice of God speak to me and give me direction. And therefore, I prayed before I got on MySpace because I already knew that the Lord had spoken to me and told me someone is going to solicit for you to do something you don't want to do. And
Wow.
when they do, tell them yes. And that morning, and I did not want to go to, you couldn't have paid me to want to go to Africa, because my whole thing was, I'm not trying to go to the other side of the globe. But I did. I obeyed God, and I don't regret one moment of it. It has been a completely fruitful journey, and I love what God has called me to do, and many others. That is really transformational. And when you think about it, Dr. D, let me ask you this. You know, I believe that, and I tell people, there's only one family. Nobody can tell me anything, okay? Because I belong to the biggest family on the planet, all right? There's only one family where you cannot, quote unquote, know people by their name, never ever met them in the flesh, but you can meet them, get off of a flight, however you get there, and from the moment you meet them, they will embrace you as we are, as literal family.
That's true.
Will fight for you, will take care of you, will protect you, do everything to protect you, to guide you, to walk alongside you, because we have the same spiritual DNA. That's as true. Well as we are bonded, we are joined to the body. And so therefore our whole existence, it is just, it's seamless. And so that happened. I've experienced that in my global work for the cause of Christ. And I'm telling you that it is real, and it is something that no one could ever, ever, ever deprive a kingdom citizen of. And I know, did you experience that when you landed and got to Zambia?
Yeah. I one of the brothers from Liberty, in fact, the praise and worship leader from Liberty Christian Center in Lusaka, Brother Moshe. And he really downplayed himself. He's really a big deal, but you know, he picked me up in his car, and I started taking pictures. He was taking pictures and video of me with the Zambia sign there at the airport, and drove me around. We went and got something to eat, and we're just talking. He's just kind of telling me a little bit more about the country, and you know, and he was telling me, you know, about how he had been in, he had a singing career, and how he had stopped singing and just didn't do anything, and how the Lord really got him back into worship and, you know, leading praise at the church, and how he's gotten involved, and it just seemed like I knew Brother Moshe for all my life. You know, we're just talking, and it's like he just seemed so familiar. And you know, as we got around, I'm looking around and I'm like, man, you know, I could easily be from Zambia. Like these people like me. Like that was one of the things that struck me right away is that many of these people look like me, you know, and you know, Zambian people are very, you know, very, very nice people, you know, laid back and this, that, and the other, but very friendly people as well. And it was just the reception and the just kind of taking it in. It really did. It felt like it could be home. That was one of the first impressions I got. I was like, wow, I could really see. And I guess there was that part of me that was like, what if my ancestors
Mm-hmm.
were never part of those groups that had gotten captured?
Mm-hmm.
And what if I grew up over here? Like, what if I was born at a time when I was just born here? What would it have been like? You could just easily see how some of us it was a result of ancestors that were kept, others weren't, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so our ancestors had different experiences on different sides of the globe, but here I was back in my ancestral home, and it
Right.
felt so familiar. It felt like home. So there was that this sense of reconnection there that um, it just answers some things inside of you that says, man, this is and it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be any particular tribe or any particular country. It's just being on the continent.
Right.
The
Right.
continent is home.
Right.
And so, but central Zambia is in Central Africa, and a lot of our ancestors, their ancestors, migrated from your central regions towards the towards West Africa. So there's a lot of that DNA and genetic, uh, you know, um, there's a lot of that DNA there, but spiritually, it felt like home as well, because Zambia is very much a Christian country. Like you
Absolutely.
talk to people in government, and these people are bishops and pastors of
Absolutely.
churches, and it sounds so weird, that government leaders are bishops and pastors of churches and this, that, or the other, but they do have a very profound love for God. And it was just a rich experience that just really it will definitely change your perception of a lot of things about Africa. Maybe even shatter some myths that you might have about the continent. And but you'll see a lot of different, you'll have a lot of different experiences. So yeah.
Absolutely. We have such a great team there in Zambia. So, just to give a little backdrop, when Dr. Damon first landed, we had already begun. He was supposed to land, I believe it was like a day earlier,
That's
but
right.
because of, air traffic issues and so forth, you were rerouted, and it added some trials and maybe a little tribulation for you.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Got
But
delayed in Kenya
yeah,
for
but
10
you
hours. Yeah.
yeah, but you did get there. And
Yeah.
so because where we are in Kafue, we're down about, maybe depending on traffic, we're good, could be 2 to 3 hours drive. And if there's no traffic and a straight shoot, it could be under about an hour to get from the major city, the capital city, Lusaka, down to Kafue.
Mhm.
So we were in class. Our president, Dr. Joshua Malenga, was holding things down, and so he started to go through the curriculum and to hold things down until the instructor came. But we let the people know that you were coming. You had already been in the air. You were on your way, and so when you arrived, we weren't the
Very
slightest
good.
bit concerned about making sure that you would be okay and comfortable. And uh, Dr. Joshua sent Moshe to get you.
Yeah.
And it was just such an intro to what it's like when
Yeah.
this kind of fellowship. It is so authentic, it is so organic, it is, and it's just what the mind of people who are really committed to the kingdom. And it's just that simple. And like you said, so many other things, uh you can really, really realize that those things are not important at
Right.
all. They don't even deserve our attention and our time in light of enjoying God. And one thing about ministry, a lot of times, especially in something that you had said, that you're a strong advocate for the church itself.
Yeah.
That in doing ministry authentically and organically, according to how we should be as believers, there is a certain joy. Mm-hmm. There's just a joy that comes with the fulfillment, right? That and we sometimes you have to work. Sometimes you may have some hiccups, you may have a little burp, you may have a little indigestion, but at the end of the day, you should be able to enjoy and have complete fulfillment with living as we are as the called out body of Christ. And so this is the type of culture that we believe in Theo Smith. And you spoke earlier and alluded to the name of the ministry. My dad, while he was alive, his ministry, the ministry was named Theo Smith World Ministries. And so we just stuck Leadership Institute on in Zambia, the Zambia org, in the US org. We kept the Theo Smith World Ministries and then stuck the Leadership Institute on. So yeah, we wanted to go forward with what he believed in. One of his chief missives in life was Christian education.
Yeah.
Right. So I could see you, and maybe I shouldn't say this right now, but I could see you doing something ridiculous like this. One time Daddy went to preach in Bogota. He was in Bogota, Colombia, in South America. And he was supposed to do a meeting there. He did the meeting there. He was one of many, many speakers in an international conference there. And the host bishop had hundreds of churches throughout South America. And specifically in Colombia, he had so many churches that at the end of the day, he asked Daddy to stay and go to all of his churches and preach this one message.
Wow.
One message. And Daddy stayed in Colombia for 3 months. And the bishop sent a team that went with him to all of these churches and drove him throughout the nation for 90 days. He was in Colombia. One time, he came with me. We went to Kenya, and he went to preach at a church. And you know how we do. We still keep a lot of the model of ministry with what we're doing now. Right. So our preaching gifts go to different ministries to fellowship on, Sundays. We don't we tend to split up the preaching team, to go and fellowship with local pastors and churches, because part of our identity is to make sure we don't come in there with superhero capes on. Now God is in the building because right. So we want to lock arms, not just in terms of the kingdom, and as well as culturally, we want to experience, right? And I hope that you share about what happened when you went to the Southern Province in a moment.
Yeah.
But, when we went to Kenya, Daddy also ended up staying at a church, and I'm standing there looking at him because he went to preach at this church, and I can name the bishop in the church, and we were supposed to leave the next day, Dr. Damon, and they're coming to me. They're coming to me and saying, "Can you let Papa stay?" And I'm sitting there looking at these people and looking at my father like, we can't take you nowhere. You don't know how to behave and pack your bags and go home. But he ended up staying there for extra. And I said, y'all better send my father home and make sure nothing is happening to him. But leading into your day with our chairman now, Bishop Alfred Kunjue, tell us about that time when you went into the Southern Province.
There it is. So this is Dr. Joshua Malenga. He is the chair, I think the
President.
chairman, the president
President. Mm-hmm.
of the Leadership Institute in Zambia.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Bishop Kunjuye. He
Mm-hmm.
is the bishop. Bishop Kunjuye is so unassuming. Like he's just real down to earth. But he is the bishop of over 400 churches between Zambia and Uganda. Uh,
Angola. Angola.
Angola.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Angola for the Church of God of Prophecy. And so this is us here actually at the church that he pastors in Kafue. This was right after one of the teaching sessions that we did. So we taught, so it was 2 weeks, 2 sessions, systematic theology and apologetics. So systematic theology was in the morning, apologetics was in the afternoon. So here's Bishop Kunjuye here in the middle. And so Saturday, we had a service here at this church,
Mm-hmm.
at his church here. We had it, and um, uh, my dear sister, Dr. What's her last?
Sean Claybrooks.
Sean Claybrooks. She was one of the speakers, and then I spoke after her. In fact, Bishop Kunjuye's daughter,
Pastor
Clarissa,
Mm-hmm.
Pastor Clarissa, she spoke, and then I spoke as well. And Dr. Malenga actually translated for me. So this was that Saturday. And so Sunday, I went into the southern province of Zambia with Bishop Kunjuye to one of the churches that he oversees. And again, there's over 400 between Angola and Zambia. So the southern province is essentially like you would think of it like a state in the same ways. So Kafue, I think is in the Lusaka. I think is the Lusaka province,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you cross the bridge, right there in Kafue, you're in the southern province on the north end of it. And so if you keep going, you'll actually end up in Zimbabwe. So we drove for a while. It was probably about a good hour and a half trip further down into the southern province. And he was telling me about a lot of the different churches in very what would look like hard to reach places. And so this was so we went to a town called Malango, in what is the district was called Shirunda. And so the people there are Tonga speaking people. So one of the things that I'm just so grateful for is that they had never had an African American come to that area and preach, and so I was the first African American in this area. In fact, they were so excited about having me there that there were other pastors who were there rather than in their service that Sunday. I guess they had other people speaking, other elders or something covering their services, but there was probably about 10 other I'd say almost 10 other pastors that were there. And let me see, I'm not even sure if I have I thought I may have had a
picture,
a video or something of it. But let me see.
Just to
Yeah.
highlight what you just mentioned. Essentially, we were told that you made history, that going into that region, that you were the first African American preacher to ever come and minister in that region. Now, let me ask you this: you guys were in the you were in the village, right? And tell us about that whole, mountainous experience going up there.
Oh yeah, it was incredible. So you get a real feel for being in Africa. So everybody comes out. So it's a really small building, but a small church in Africa, in Zambia, in this area, might be about 150, 200 people. That's a church just getting started. Like, these people are really hungry for God.
Yeah.
So I see all these people. It's like all these people coming out of the building to greet, and they're singing, and then they line up, and they're singing, and then uh everybody's shaking my hand, and then as I go in, they come in after me, and they come in singing, which is part of their tradition. and and then the same thing on the way out. I go out first, and then everybody comes out, and I'm shaking everybody's hand, and then they form this kind of circle and start singing. And we did a tradition, ate a traditional meal. um what is it, a
Shima.
shima, which is a staple. It's kind of like almost a potato-ish, a mashed potato-ish kind of texture, I think, made out of rice, I think. Or
I think they make it out of corn or
cornmeal.
something like that. They grind the
Yeah,
corn. Yeah.
yeah, but it's very good. And you reach in the bowl and grab it, and so uh, they wanted, obviously for me, it meant a lot for them to have me, not just preach, but to eat with them, to fellowship with them, to talk to many of the pastor leaders, and encourage them. It meant so much to them. That was what was so humbling. It meant so much to them for me to be there. They thought, like, wow, he came to us. They felt like, it's like, he could have been anywhere, but he came here, and they were just so excited, so happy about that. And and I got in and was dancing with them, and playing some of their instruments. And so I've got, actually, so they gave me, this is actually called a keyboard. So they gave me the keyboard, and they were teaching me how to play it, and the traditional drums, and just had a wonderful time of worship. They love singing and dancing, and everybody's involved. The children are involved. Like, nobody's just sitting around. Everybody is involved. And to hear them, and so Bishop Conjuye did the translating for me. I do have a little video here. I got all kinds of stuff. We just have right after we walk in.
Amen. Jabutambuna. Bamuka moni mupati muzala Yesu Kristo. Mukutunula. Amen. Twapa kulumba ya upati. Kuli bafundisi basoba hankombo. Alimu ya bafundisi ba Samora, alimu amafundisi bonse balomuno. Abamama bonse balumbaga pati. Hallelujah.
Yeah, I got so many different footage, but he was getting ready to get into explaining, telling them how they were so happy to have me there, and everybody stood, everybody was clapping, and they treated me like I was like coming home, like our brother has come back home.
So you don't have the footage of you actually in there playing the keyboard?
You know what? I do.
Okay.
I'm on a
and then when you became the musician on the drums.
You know what? I've gotta load that up. While you're talking though, I can find it and then
Okay.
end up loading it up. But it was a
Okay.
great experience though. That meant a lot to me to be in the southern province, in an area that is very rural, to see, the where they're living, how they live. And one of the things he said, I'll say this, he's so it's the rainy season
Mhm.
in Zambia. It's essentially the summer.
Mhm.
And we were blessed in the first week, of course, to get a lot of rain. So it was cool. Like you felt like, oh man, it's cool. And they was like, all right, just wait around now, because when the rain stops, you're gonna feel it.
That
So
heat hit.
in that second week is 3-4 days no rain. We felt it. It was like it was something that and but one of the things he did mention is that far down in the southern province,
Mhm.
unlike in the Lusaka province, they don't get a lot of that rain. And you could see on the way down, you could see dried up riverbeds, like what was once riverbeds, flowing rivers. You could see like the way that they're snaking, and it's just rocks. You could see like it's just um it just, you could see where life is just depleting
Mhm.
in areas that are really, really, really dry. And he was telling me on the way down, he was like, yeah, this area doesn't get a lot of rain. And so, water is scarce, and it's very important, so we were just talking about that. And I just count this as a blessing. Right after I got done preaching, and maybe, I'm not trying to be superstitious or this, that, or the other, but in Africa, this is how they see it. This
Yeah,
is how they see it.
they
And,
talked
and this
about
is
it. They
how
talked about it.
people in the biblical world seen it too. As soon as I got done preaching, it started pouring down raining for about an hour straight. And Bishop leaned over to me. He says, it never does this. He says, this is God's blessing. This is God showing his favor on this worship service, on you coming here. God is blessed, like and we wouldn't think like that. We would not think like that. But that is exactly what he told me. And it's yeah, it blessed me
He
to
said it
be.
rained. I put on
Yeah,
my church.
go ahead. Yeah.
Um, he said it also rained the next day, and there have been severe drought, and he said it rained the next day as well. So they really believed that the you being in there, and not just so much Dr. Damon per se, but
Yeah.
the message that you preached, that the Lord honored it and sent rain. It was
Yeah.
just that simple. And he also said it rained the next day. So, to
Oh,
God be the glory.
yeah, I tell you,
And
it was.
just talking about the rain, like you said, you witnessed the dry water beds, and you could probably visualize the lower water levels literally. And I hope you're searching, and so I'm not necessarily interrupting what you were going
Oh
to
yeah,
say.
no, go ahead.
Okay. So in Kafue, the Kafue River supplies a lot of water for the major city, Lusaka. However, when I first went to Kafue in 2019, we were able to stand along the banks of the Kafue River, and
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
no, 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 go ahead.
All right. So this is one, and once you load it up, it just automatically pops up
Yes,
on
yes.
screen. Yeah, this is good. It was there's one with me playing the drums, and I don't think they got one. Bishop Conjuye got out there and he started. They were doing this dance. Everybody was doing the dance, and then he was like, "Come on, come on!" So I got out there, and I thought they got that one on video, but they didn't. But it was and all of this is a lot of it was going. So after the service was essentially over, is when it started raining for about an hour and a half. So they were like, let's just keep it going. So it's just singing and dancing the whole time for at least a good hour and a half, while it was just like a torrential downpour. And it, you know, it's dark in there because there's no electrical lighting, that and the other. But it was just a powerful time of worship, and you know what was so funny is the whole time I didn't even know who the pastor was. He's just sitting over on the side. I have no idea. The Bishop Conjuye had to say, "Yeah, this is the pastor." He was so unassuming, and one of the things he said to me that really struck me, he said, "Man, this guy right here," he said, "God uses him as a church planter." And he said, this is one of our newest churches. And you couldn't really, on the video, you don't really fully see how many people were in there, but there were well over 100 people in this small little building. And he was like, this is one of the newest ones. We just got it started. It's like he goes and God just uses him. He'll preach the gospel. People come to the Lord and they plant churches. He said, next thing you know, it's 100, 200, 300 people. And he says God uses just ordinary people like him. And when you looked at him, you just nothing would have come to your mind and say, yeah, this is the pastor. And he's just, again, very, very unassuming, you know, real down to earth, humble brother, quiet, mild mannered. The Zambian people are very, very mild mannered. They're very different from Nigerians, right? Yeah, you know, which is nothing wrong with Nigerians, but they're very different than that, you know. And it was amazing to see, and I was just really impressed with the fact that they're doing real ministry. I mean, they're going out and they're doing it with less resources. All the things that we think sometimes we need to have in order to they're just going out and doing ministry with whatever they have, and God is just really pouring out his blessing on it. Somebody did ask me what was my African name that they gave me, and so Bishop Priska gave me the name Malenga, and which I think means chief or something like that. I think it means chief.
Chief or king or something like that.
Chief or king or something. So and I think
and then when you went to Liberty on Sunday, they gave you Malenga again, I believe.
Yeah. So Bishop Eddie Malenga, who is Dr. Joshua Malenga's brother, pastors the Liberty Church, and then his father is Eddie Malenga Sr.
Yes.
And so I am a adopted Malenga into the family there. So I've got a Malenga family.
Yes.
I think that the name is I think it's actually Swahili originally, and may have been incorporated into the Bemba tribe. I think he was explaining to me some of the relationship between Swahili and people and Bemba people or whatever. But yeah, so it was just good to just feel that a connection, again, natural ancestral type connection, and then also the spiritual family that's there, and just knowing that, hey, you know, these are my brothers and sisters serving Christ on the other side of the world. So yeah.
So we had such a phenomenal time. I cannot thank you enough. I just cannot, for not only making the trip, but taking, spearheading our inaugural in-person classes. And you did both classes, and the students just loved you. They got to the point where, like, okay, so on the last day when we gave certificates of completion out for the classes, afterwards, one of the students, I said to the student, I called the student by their name, and he said, call me doctor. And I said, okay. And he said to me, he said, after I sat through these 2 classes, I am now a doctor. Call me doctor.
Right,
and I just bust out laughing. I'm like,
yeah.
oh. So you really, really poured into the students. The students definitely loved you and loved your ministration, so to speak. You challenged them, you taught them. And what particularly stood out to me was what's very important to us is having cross-cultural engagement. Your teaching style was extremely suitable, and not only suitable, but it was very engaging. Even though what is it, Dr. Joshua, who's our president, he was amazed and commented, and he actually mentioned that the way you taught all of that material within 2 weeks was absolutely incredible. And it wasn't just, rushing through and running through. You really, really broke down, and your teaching style was incredibly interactive. So the students were very much engaged.
Yeah.
And they were able to, they were already invested, they were already invested into the actual class, because we have so many, anecdotal experiences that we could share about some of the students. But they were already there and sacrificing to be there. And then your teaching style was so impactful. It was great to see people really, the light come on, the illumination. It was just good to witness it, and see people have so many of those aha moments. And just question. Can I just tell y'all this? Someone asked a question. I think it was like the last day or the day before we were closing out the classes. Someone asked a question about apologetics, and it was pertaining to African history and participation in the early church. And Dr. Damon just stood on his foot, and he, I can mimic him at that blackboard. We teased him quite a bit. Our team there, we mimicked him quite a bit. But he went to that blackboard and just went to, and it was hilarious to me. He just went to the blackboard and he just started writing, okay, so Aniaphis from 132 AD to and Prostagium. And I mean, I'm just being facetious at this point, but he's just, from the great knowledge of God, the knowledge base, he's just going back and forth. And when he finished answering that question, that whiteboard was full. That was a whole additional basic course. So the way you imparted into the students, it was phenomenal. And they're still talking about it, and it created an expectation and furthered their commitment to the classes. So we're incredibly happy that you're part of us, and that the Lord used you the way he does.
I was it was good to see the impact of contextualized teaching,
Mhm.
taking the subject matter and then contextualizing it. So when we did systematic theology, we dealt with obviously bibliology and theology proper, Christology, pneumatology. We talked about angiology, demonology, and soteriology. But everything that we did, we made sure that it was culturally contextualized to Africa. And when we even when we talked about ecclesiology, the church, the doctrine of the church, we contextualize that to the church in Africa. And the same thing with the apologetics teachings as well. When we talked about contextualization and what that looks like. We talked about syncretism and essentially when contextualization goes too far, and even colonization and how that can occur as well, and how they need to resist syncretism and colonization, right? And syncretism is obviously too much of unredeemable aspects of the culture to the point that it perverts the gospel. And colonization, obviously attempts to take import another culture in and make it synonymous with Christianity while demonizing your culture. And so, but we talked about all of those kinds of things, and we even had them look at, what other things in your culture that, because we talked about how culture is not, we're not at war with the culture. God uses culture. He speaks through culture. The writers of scripture, saw things in cultural ways. All of those aspects are part of how we read through scripture. Culture is redeemable, but there are aspects of it that don't align with a biblical worldview or the message of scripture. And we had them go through their culture and discuss those things. And one of the moments that really stood out to me was when we talked about aspects of African spirituality, especially the kind that they would have been familiar with in their area, and how one brother was talking about how I guess I would say that they're shamans, essentially, like priest, killing. Killing a goat or whatever, and then, having a person drink the blood. And so, had him explain in the class, so, what's the whole purpose of that? What's going on in this ritual? And another sister joined in and was saying, the goal is to obtain power. Like, drinking the blood gives the person power, and the ability to be able to do things, know things, so forth and so on. And then we had them say, okay, so if you're sharing the gospel with somebody and they come to Christ, and then you have to disciple them, what do you say about this to help them understand that this can't be redeemed into your Christian walk, that this is not compatible with scripture? How do you explain that? What do you say from scripture? And like, she went right in and she went into Hebrews and talked about how the blood of Christ speaks better things than the blood of animals and bulls and goats and so forth and so on. And how we're redeemed by his blood. And she just went in on, and it was just an incredible moment of taking apologetic theory and integrating that into the real world in their context, and then hearing we talked about prosperity theologies and all kinds of issues that they are confronted with, right? And what to do with these kinds of things, and it was incredible to be able to practice contextualization in real time and to see the impact. And they really appreciated it. I mean, you
Mhm.
tell they the appreciation was great. We had a brother and his wife come. I think this will be good because there was about 60 people every day in class, just about 60 people, which is incredible. I mean, even if you were to take any kind of class here, to have 60 students in the class show up every
Mhm.
day is beyond expectations.
Mhm.
And so on the way from Lusaka, which is north of Kafue, uh, uh, I think the toll is called Shimbala. Is
Shimabala.
The
Mhm.
Shimbala toll booth. Um, but by the time you get to that booth on Kafue Road going south, you probably still got about 50 minutes maybe drive from there. And so this brother and his wife now on bike, that's going to be a few hours on bike,
On
you know,
one bike, both of them.
on one bike. So him and his wife, they were there in class every day um, on that one bike, not two bikes, on the one bike. This man riding his wife on the bike, and they would come from that area closer to where that toll booth is. I was told it would take them about 3 hours to get to where we were.
Mhm.
They got there most of the time before we
Exactly.
and faithful. I mean, you know, that kind of intensity and hunger. And so, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, how could I not bring my absolute best uh effort in teaching and just come with, you know, with that level of commitment, because you got people here who they are coming from afar, and you know, and so it encouraged me. It definitely encouraged me, and again, you we see that we take things for granted. You know, a 20-30 minute drive in a car for us is too far, you know, and but they rode on a bike, two people on one bike for 3 hours every day for 2 weeks.
Each way in the rain.
Hey, even in the rain.
Yeah.
I just like, jeez, you
Yeah.
know, what can you say? Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty much the Bible. You know, the Bible tells us they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness shall be filled. And oftentimes, we don't necessarily appreciate what it takes for others to actually pursue their hunger and their thirst.
Absolutely.
To go ahead and to have that kind of hunger for the things of God, to
Mhm.
3 hours each way. And like you said, there were some days where when we got there, we saw that bike right on the side. They were already
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
And we knew they had a 3 hour ride back, even if it was raining. And so it's
Yeah.
just an incredible testament of their dedication,
Mm.
their dedication. And so many of the students were there every single day and did
Yeah.
not miss a day. The vast majority, we lost less than 5 students from day one till the close. Most of the students were there. We have an exceptional team there, that worked all the inner workings. Right? Someone's commenting a 3 hour bicycle ride is
Yeah.
not comfortable. Correct.
Not
Yeah.
at all.
Right. We had an exceptional team there. Pastor Samantha Swansa, she is in charge of our enrollment. And then we had Pastor Clarissa there,
Yeah.
who you also mentioned. She preached on our Saturday service, but every day she was there. And like, just, you mentioned Bishop Conjue's humility. Bishop Conjue came in there like a student every day. He was there
Yeah.
every day, sat in the back like a student. And like you said, he's so humble. He's often, if he's very tall, but you know, he's very unassuming, and he's just always there. So many of our leaders were there with Theo Smith, those who are dedicated to helping this work become what it must be, this institute. We have an incredible team here in the U.S., and they should, you know, we have Dr. Claybrook, Sean Claybrook, her husband, Frazel. So let's talk about Dr. Sean and Frazel.
Yes,
and their commitment, because I started to talk about it a little earlier, and you mentioned it, the when you were able to visualize the actual drought, the water lines, and so you could see the water levels where you were. And in Kafue, the Kafue River is what is the major water source for even the surrounding area, including the major city, the capital city, Lusaka. And when I first went in 2019, I literally stood at one of the banks of the Kafue River, and I saw what the normal water line may have been here, and it was down to here. I saw wash across it, and I could see, so you could visualize the drought. And you mentioned Bishop Prisker, where we have an ongoing project with her property, her farm. She also has, she's also in a village nearby Kafue. And we have been committed to boring well holes so that we can actually help, you know, and contribute. Part of our corporate responsibility is to make sure that we are making changes with local infrastructure by providing access to clean water.
Right.
The import of that is not just being able to say, okay, I got clean water to drink, which obviously is essential for people to live, right? But it also deals with, you know, helping to quell, you know, some sort of several major diseases.
Yeah.
And it was so visual on Bishop Prisker's farm, because when I first went to her farm, she had water working, and then it stopped. And so then I believe 6 months ago, we bore a well on her property, and it was about somewhere around 6 months. Yeah, it was about 6 months ago. And the visual change when you went to her property, because you were able to, I think we went twice to her property.
Yeah.
And you were able to see the crops, the farmland, and just see and how much she's able to do, because she also is a bishop and a pastor in the village. And she also helps so many other people to live. She provides living for widows and things of that nature. And so boring water wells, we've done quite a few at this point, and that is a major part of our social and corporate responsibility. There you go. That's Bishop Prisker's farm. And that's after boring the well deep enough for irrigation, because you can bore wells and then you can provide just clean water for the house. But with her well, we actually, the company went down over 50 feet. And so that they have enough of a water and the pressure, and they went down deep enough to actually irrigate acres and acres. They call them hectares or something like that, but acres and acres of land. Our donations include supplying submersible cables so that they can actually put them underground, so that you can have the electric pumps and pump the water and irrigate the land. And so we've upgraded our wells in the last two that you were able to be a part of, and part of so much of what the Claybrooks and everyone who's on the team has begun to lock into is we're doing solar wells now, because those wells are able to be powered off of the solar power. And that means that when the power goes out, they can still have access to the water, and then the water wells work. So this one has been an exceptional, I would like to say, upgrade for what we're able to supply. And what we're seeing here is Dr. Joshua Malenga, who's standing there. He's working with Bishop Kunjue and his wife, Tandy Way, who is also, she's our CFO, and they have the project management team. And so those are huge. Now, Dr. Damon, I don't know if you have the picture, but you're pretty tall, and you were standing next to that green tank, just to show how tall that tank is. And how
yeah, I do. In fact, let me pull that up now. Let me see.
That's a 5,000 liter tank. That solar panel, we have 3 of those that go on to those huge tank stands. The tank stands are over 19 feet tall. I think they're almost 20 feet tall, but they're between 19 and 20 feet tall.
Right.
And
here's one with Dr. Malenga.
Okay.
Standing next to it. This is the one that we put up at the school.
Okay. Right. And so that tank, by the time we left, it was actually placed on the top of the tank stand, and they're pretty huge. And that the water pressure from using the high powered solar pump is so great that it gets to actual irrigation properties.
Right.
And so we're just very grateful to God, because the school principal there, she pulled me aside and she just looked at me and she said, "You people really love God. You people really love God." And I'm like, we do love God.
Look at
it's
these
amazing.
kids.
Yes, those are babies at the school. Some of the children that were there all day watching the drilling and the borehole process, they were there for hours and hours. And that's you, Dr. Damon, in one of the classrooms. What do they call you?
They say uncle.
Yes.
And here's some of the other kids hanging out after school. And oh man, just to see the joy on their faces, like just clean water brought so much joy to knowing that they have access to it. It's incredible how that can change lives. Like it has an impact on an entire village of people. Like you said, it's not just even drinking water; it's being able to bathe. It's keeping down spread of disease and all kinds of things. It's life. Water is life, and it's again another expression and dimension of how the gospel is not just a message. The gospel is good news. Jesus said, the Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has anointed me to preach good news to the poor, to the brokenhearted, to those who are in prison, so forth and so on. So it is a declaration of good news, but it is good news itself, right? And it's good news, obviously, for our salvation, freedom, and deliverance from sin, bondage, spiritual bondage being broken. But it's also good news for the poor. It's good news for the brokenhearted. It's actual good news, because the gospel comes not just to declare something, but to also do something. So the scope of the gospel compels us to demonstrate the love of Christ in ways that are meaningful, and transformative to the to people, and contribute to my good friend Chris Samuel always talks about human flourishing, right? And so this is what Theo Smith, Ministries is doing. It's not just teaching people, Christian education. I mean, that's one aspect of it, but it's also equipping and preparing them to be transformational leaders, to be difference makers in the world, in their community, and to do things like this. So there are a number of different dimensions to teaching is one component, teaching and training, but also doing. So there's the praxis aspect of it. So we've got the pedagogy piece in the classroom, and the praxis aspect where we are, boring holes, installing wells, and building homes for orphans and widows, and things of that nature. Is the gospel in action, in other words. So that's really powerful when you see the gospel in action and you're part of it. The idea of good news takes on real skin at that point, because the gospel is good news as a message, but it is also good news in action as well, because the gospel compels us to embody the life of Christ, to be incarnational, right? In the way that he was. He came among us, and the gospel compels us to go among, and we had a wonderful time. I mean, when we were out there, we were among the people that we are helping, and seeing the difference that it makes in their lives. It just makes you want to keep going back and doing everything that you can. And you realize you don't have the ability to solve all of the world's problems. But that kind of burden is not really on you. It's just the compulsion. As Paul said, I am constrained to preach the gospel. You feel this constraining to do something, right? And to do whatever you can. And God just takes those 2 pieces of fish and 5 loaves of bread, and he multiplies it. And even in that story, every hungry person in the world didn't eat. But in that story, those people did. And that's the thing, is that you just have to be in a position to allow God to utilize you in ways that are meaningful to people in any locale or any region. What can you do there is the question. And that question is constantly being answered through the Theo Smith Ministries in Zambia. It's what can we do there? What can we do with what we have? And through the generosity of ministry partners, the volunteerism is incredible. That is another thing that just blew me away, is the level of volunteerism.
Talk about it.
Is listen, we were talking about this just the other day. So if somebody's in the church here, and, if they're just playing a tambourine, they got to get a check, they got to get paid. If they're just playing the cymbals or something, they got to get paid. And I'm not here to mess up anybody's gig or whatever, but what I'm saying is that the team there is doing an incredible work, and they're doing it out of a heart, a spirit of love and giving. They're volunteering their time and talents, treasures. Nobody's getting a check. So when you understand the level of work that is being done, and nobody is getting a check, that you will truly get a picture of what kingdom ministry is all about. Right?
Everybody's sewing.
Yeah.
Everybody. It's such a collaboration between people who are giving of themselves, sacrificing their time, their gifts, their resources. And it is just so refreshing. It is so rewarding. It is amazing. And just to reiterate what you said, Dr. Damon, everybody, even on the U.S. team, it's just, when I think of all that people are bringing to the table, not just the U.S. team, but the Zambian team. That's our, in this picture we have our president, Dr. Joshua Malenga, myself, Pastor Samantha Swanza, and Dr. Damon. So, like, for example, and I hope she don't get upset with telling her business, but right now she resides in Lusaka. So for her to engage with us as she does, normally when we come, she literally comes to the other city and stays there from the time we're there to the time we leave before she goes back home. So this time she was away from her home for over 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Every time we come, before you let us with our in-person classes, but we did pop-ups before. We have been going, we go every 6 months and we do pop-ups. So we, what you did was like 2 courses. We would say it's an intensive because you really taught those courses. Right? We do
like
pop-ups.
8-week, 16-week type classes there.
I'm telling you, it was incredible. But we would do like what we would call pop-ups. We go in and we have leadership training and pop-ups, right? And so Pastor Sam, even Dr. Josh, they don't reside in Kafue as of yet. They reside in Lusaka. And most of our people are in the Kafue area, and they are from Kafue, most by far. But we do have that kind of volunteerism. We have that time of collective collaboration, where they get those dates down, where they know what's happening, and they're just plugged in. And it is what it is. They're there, and you have seen it for yourself. I want to say, when Dr. Damon arrived, from the moment he planted his feet there, he was in a car down the Great North Road to teach. And I don't think he had a 24-hour period before he came back where it was just like, let me enjoy Africa. We had we had some time during the late afternoons to refresh, get ready for the next day, but it is a continual, ongoing, daily cycle and schedule. I can say that it is completely rewarding. That's an image of the Great North Road rolling into Kafue. Once you see, and Kafue is very mountainous, and it also is riverside by the side of the Kafue River. And that main road rides through all of right through Kafue. And the Great North Road, is a road that extends from, that's Kafue Road. But at some point, the Kafue Road and the Great North Road intersect, and they're one. But the Great North Road extends from, I believe, Cairo, Egypt, and you can drive all the way down through to South Africa.
Yeah.
On that one road.
Yeah, all the way down to Johannesburg.
Yes.
Yeah. That's got to be easily the longest road in the world. Right. This road is going through about 5 different countries, if not more. Yeah.
It stretches from the north to the south of Africa. It is a very long road, but that's a wonderful view of what it's like going into Kafue. And we drove up and down the road enough to know, like, our markers. Okay, we're almost back to where we're going. We're just a few minutes down the road from where we stay. But we have a strong commitment to what we're doing there. And we know that our institute is headquartered in Kafue, but we are technically already global because we operate based here in the U.S. as well. But we do have a global plan and projections for different areas where we will be having classes, and especially because as we progress, our hybrid model will permit us to be teaching online. But Dr. Damon, if you could just share a little bit about, because I know that I've gotten quite a few questions, and why are you just doing this, with a campus in the digital age? Why are you worried about literal physical books? I don't know if you want to share about that, if you feel comfortable. I'm perfectly fine with it. Why do you have the books, and why are you still, when we're moving technologically forward, why blah, blah, blah. But if you could share about why we still have to have this hybrid.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. Buddy, he's going to interrupt.
Like you've been talking long enough.
So, but I've said this, so God is really, his hand of blessing is really on this, on the Institute, and he's showing favor. I should say that we have been the recipient of a largesse from a biblical institute, a college in Dallas, Texas, that has donated a theological library. So they're giving us an entire library of physical books as part of what it's going to take to obviously build out this program and move towards accreditation. And so just, I mean, to move towards accreditation, you've got to have a number of outside of digital books. You've got to have a certain number of available resources. And here's a new institution, and yet God just blessed us just in having a conversation about it. Say, hey, we're going to be doing this, that. Oh, listen, we want to bless the school with these books. So we're very grateful for that. And and I'll just say this, that the infrastructure there just doesn't support the kind of streaming capabilities, Wi-Fi and internet capabilities that we have. Like, we've got 5G networks. They're still struggling with 3G and that type of thing, for 4G if it's available. But it's not always available, right? So the network comes up, goes down. So Wi-Fi and even phone networks are not reliable there, and so we're essentially talking about, even though places like Lusaka are very urbanized and this, that, or the other, infrastructure is still essentially somewhere in between first and second world. So they are decades and decades and decades behind us. And so you still need to do things. It still requires doing things in person, on site, on location. You've got to be there, right? Because, when we want to do a meeting, you can say, hey, man, FaceTime me. And or let's jump on a Zoom. And like 15 people on the Zoom and everybody somewhere else and this, that, and the other. In Zambia, you can't do that. And so, part of making theological and Christian education accessible, not just affordable, but accessible, means making it accessible, like literally bringing it to them, right? And you've got to understand what this means for them. This means that they are going to be equipped to be effective in their own indigenous context, right? So you bringing it to them allows them to bring it even further into their own context, and to be able to take what they are learning, and it's like exponentially multiplying that. So it's a small sacrifice for an incredible harvest that comes from it, right? So so this is where partnership and all that is important, is that the only way to do this work is to do it on the ground. Like you really have to be there. Like when we were doing these classes, you know, it wasn't any air conditioning. I lost 5 pounds while I was. I lost 5 pounds. I was sweating like, you should see me. Like I was like sweating like crazy and drinking water. I'm pushing water back. I don't even like water. I'm pushing water back like crazy, and just trying to stay hydrated and teach. And and they're pulling it out of me, and I'm, and it was a joy to be able to do it, but knowing that that's the only way that it can be done is that way. Like you gotta be there. You gotta be teaching in person, and so so the churches are limited because the country itself doesn't have the resources, right? So it's not like, well, if we send more money to the church, there'll be, well, inside of the country, the resources inside, like even their power grid is sometimes like the thing goes up and down and this, that, and the other. Like they don't, so power can go out. So solar energy is a big deal because their power grid is unstable. And so churches are are essentially what churches can do and businesses can do are obviously limited by the infrastructure that is available in the country, is the point that we're trying to make. And so that means that doing effective ministry means that you've got to have people going there, and you got to have people there on the ground already in partnership to be able to make things happen. And so, we're grateful that we've got an incredible team in Zambia. And these are not just anybody's. Like these people are movers and shakers in government, right? Like these are very highly intelligent, highly accomplished people. Like these people, like if you need to know somebody, these people know people, right? like these are not, and to know that they're on the team is incredible. Like, again, nobody's walking around with their chest out like, hey, do you know who I am? I'm so and so and so and so. Like it's real kingdom. The level of volunteerism and humility and team and us, as opposed to me and us, it's the kind of stuff that we preach about and we want to see in our churches. I've seen it, and again, like I said, when you start learning, you hear about these people's bios, you're like, oh wow, wow, that's pretty impressive, and to see them rolling their sleeves up and on the ground doing this kind of work is definitely humbling. And again, these people are leaders, major leaders, and but they're also Christians, so they are compelled and constrained by the gospel to get involved and to do something. So we've got that team there on the ground, and then the team here that teams of people travel. And so I'm grateful because this is first time for me, but it won't be the last time, Lord willing. So I'm looking forward to going back again. I believe in the summer to continue. So we've got more classes that we'll be doing there, and I think about six more intensives. And so next time I go back, I'll be tackling 2 more. And then Dr. Josh Malenga will be doing, in between that time, he'll be doing 4. And so we'll get it done. And so that will complete a year of matriculated, study for many of these, and these are not just pastors. Some of them are bishops, some of them are just church workers, but people who want to be equipped. They want to, they're hungry. They're excited, and I was praying that I didn't let anybody down. The hunger and the expectation was so high. I was like, Lord, I hope I can actually come here and deliver. Yeah, they said we have heard about the great man of God.
Yes.
So
it was you hit the ball out the park, and they had great expectation.
They did.
They really did, and you hit the ball out the park. So the class had it was just so it was so I'm a clown. Okay, I'm a PK kid. So anybody know about PK kids? There's always a clown among them. I'm the clown, and so we had persons in the class who had these certain roles. So I told the class before Dr. Damon came, you know, when he comes, it's his classroom. He's the instructor. It is his classroom. This is not quote unquote church. So put your little titles down somewhere. I'm not diminishing anybody, but you're not, 10 titles, Sally over here. This is a class, and when he walks in, he's the instructor. And so they did appoint Dr. Joshua and some of the local persons in Zambia on our team. They appointed certain people to have certain roles in the class. So it was just amusing to me to watch Dr. Damon call on, say, Elder Wamanima, who was on the front row.
Yeah,
I think he beat us to class every single
right. That's it. Yeah,
right, Elder Wamanima, and he's sitting there, he's taking his notes, and most people would not recognize this is someone who has he's one of the leaders over the Gideon Bible Society, and goes through several different African countries, him and his team and their reps. And they, these are people, and he's a local leader in his church as well. He's one of their ruling elders there and pastors there in his church. And so then we had
Bishop Kalemba.
Yes.
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 Let me see. I think I may have a picture of when he came. Let me see. I think I have that picture here. Just a second here.
And I believe he's the bishop of the Wesleyan Church in Zambia.
That's right. Over the entirety of the Wesleyan Church in Zambia.
Yes.
Let me see here. Go ahead.
We had Apostle Dina Kesakela, and she is the chairperson. Oh, that's perfect, because Apostle Dina's in that picture as well.
Yeah.
So we had Dina Kesakela's in the red dress, and then we have you, Dr. Damon, to the far left, Bishop Dr. Alfred Uwe, who's our chairman, and then you had Bishop
Alfred Kalemba. Here, the shorter one in the middle. Yeah.
And he came all the way. How far did he come? He traveled
3 hours from the southern province. Yeah, I think he was near Livingston. I think maybe further out, but about 3 hours drive. Just to come and spend that day. He wanted to personally meet me, so I first heard of him through a good friend of mine here, Bishop Sidney Wheatley, who is in the Wesleyan Church in, I think, somewhere in North Carolina.
Right.
And he was telling me because he does missions trips to different parts of Africa. So he knows many of those leaders there. So he was like, since you're going to be in Zambia, you've got to meet Bishop Kalemba. And so we started communicating via WhatsApp. And so when I got there, I said, hey, Bishop, I'm here. Here's some of the times or days that I'll be teaching. And it would be an honor if I get a chance to meet you. And he drove 3 hours and sat through both sessions, hung out with us. And again, very humble man. And again, you know, you look at the Wesleyan Church, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of churches across Zambia. And this man is the bishop over it. And yet, you know, he drove 3 hours to sit in class, and he was there taking notes. And he was like, this is amazing. And just, he participated when we in the apologetic session, we were talking about syncretism and this, that, and the other. He was part of it. Again, nobody was too big to learn or to to take part. Nobody was too big for any of that. And these people are very, very accomplished. They lead major ministries. Some of them are pastoring hundreds, thousands, this, that, and the other. And again, to see their level of humility and commitment to doing work, and again, it's not just what's happening in here. It's the things that they have to do outside to bring quality of life to people in various ways. These people are all committed to doing that kind of work, in addition to preaching people. Here in the States, ministry is just about preaching to people. But that's not a complete picture of ministry. Ministry is, about how you actually bring the gospel to people's lives. How is your arrival good news to people? You know what I mean? When you show up, how's that good news for somebody? You know what I mean? Are you bringing some food? Are you bringing something that is good news for them, right? And these people are committed to this kind of work. In addition to training pastors, encouraging congregations, and all of this stuff. So I was just blessed to be part of that, to see it happening, and to know that, wow, you know what we do here in time echoes in eternity.
Glory.
And it's just you can never the dividends on this kind of work are beyond anything that we would ever be rewarded for in this life. Like, you can't go there expecting to get anything. You're going to give. You're going to empty. When you come back, you should be empty, right? And that's the mindset that you have to have. Nobody's there to get, like, I didn't get any money. This is no grift. This is no, oh man, how many churches can you preach in and get an offering and this, that, or the other. It was all about, what can I get? How much can I give? How much can I give of myself? How much can I give away? How much can I help? And so you come back and you're empty. You're empty in a good way. In a good way. So I don't know if you would like to answer possibly some questions from the audience. If you all have any questions that you want to ask, put question again in front of the question so that we could see it quickly and put it up on the screen. But anything that you would like to know, we just having, this is how we might have a phone conversation. So we wanted to just kind of casually talk about, and reflect on, things that we've seen, the experience, the time there. And but if you have a question for either one of us or what have you, go ahead and ask your question here.
Yes.
And grace and peace, blessings to you. Yeah. So, and I know people are watching it in different time segments, and sometimes it is somebody might even be getting a commercial ad or whatever. But let me just say it again. If you have a question, feel free to ask that question, and we'll take a few minutes to answer some of your questions. Anything that you might want to know about Zambia, maybe about missions, maybe about getting involved, maybe about how you can make a difference, whatever it is. Feel free. If we have anybody that wants to ask any one of those questions, we've got a couple of minutes before we go ahead and wrap up. But while we are doing that, somebody said, oh, they got to rewatch. Definitely, this is an incredible conversation. I would encourage you to rewatch it. Here is the video, I would say, of hold on one second. Here is, I think this is the video. Here we go.
You go enough times, you're gonna pick up the songs. You're gonna learn the words.
Yeah,
and, our friends and partners there, our brothers and sisters there. When we're in services, and sometimes there are language barriers, they'll lean over and they'll tell you, they'll interpret all of the lyrics that to the songs. And when you minister there, we also have interpreters if need be. For most of the classes, though, you didn't really need an interpreter. The students pretty much after day one, they sort of figured it out. Once they got used to your vernacular and your voice, and you made a few adjustments.
That's it. Yeah.
Do you have a question?
To speak as clearly and slowly as possible. So.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. There we go. You can answer the question.
Okay. How easy, difficult was it to get a visa to visit Zambia? At this present time, you don't need a visa if you are a U.S. or Canadian citizen. You don't need a visa anymore. There are some requirements in terms of entering. You obviously have to have a passport, but if you enter and you have already made a ticketed to leave within the allotted time, which I think is I'm not sure, I don't want to speak out of turn, but basically there is a time frame, and if you have a return, or you can document that you're leaving the country in time, you should have no problems with entering. But for the most part, they remove that requirement from those who reside in the U.S. lawfully. So if you are a U.S. citizen, or your citizenship is from one of the countries where they remove the visa requirement, we no longer have to apply for or pay for visas as part of the admittance to the nation of Zambia.
That's good. Yeah. It was very easy for me to get in. Passport, told them what I was doing, where I'm staying, how long I'm going to be there. They stamped off on it, and I was right. I got through. And I got through passport control in like 2 minutes from getting off the plane, like straight through.
It is just wonderful. It's very clean. And it is just, and as Dr. Damon said earlier, the Zambian people, they don't like major confrontations. They're very peaceful people. They are people that is very respectful in their communication, and they're an endearing people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Here's another good question for you. There you go.
Do you have information how one may donate, and information how to be involved in missions? Yes. If your question, we definitely have donation information. We do. We have a wonderful person on our team in Zambia and also here who takes care of our finances. And so our donations go to all of the work that we do. As Dr. Damon said, no one is paid. It is 100% volunteerism at this particular point. We hope that in the future that changes. Nonetheless, we do have the donation information. So Dr. Damon, we can issue that donation information and how to be involved in missions. If that question is geared towards this specific mission, you can get in touch with Dr. Damon and or myself, and we'll let you know what you can do depending upon what your interests are in getting involved in this mission. But right now, we are very much open to people just coming and to witnessing what's happening there in Zambia.
Yeah, there's my email address.
Okay.
Reach out to me, and then I'll make sure that you get all the information that you need on missions involvement, as well as for donations as well. And that's a blessing. Trust me. Listen, you know, a lot of nonprofits, like for instance, and I'm not discouraging anybody from giving to nonprofits, but these are major machines, and sometimes these CEOs are making more than corporate CEOs. You know, they'll get, you know, $400,000 or $500,000, $600,000 a year salary or more, right? And then, you know, you got this big machine. So your donation is $10. $1 might go towards the mission, whereas the other $9 are going towards staffing and this, that, and the other, so forth and so on. Whereas here, essentially 100% of everything is going directly towards the mission, and so that is encouraging to know, because you know literally that whatever you give, it is going directly to actually make a difference in people's lives. And I was on the ground to be able to actually see, like I saw the process from start to finish when they started with the well and the boring of the hole, and then coming back a couple of days later, and the solar panel was already up on the roof. You know, seeing the development of that all the way to where the water is actually running, and the tank is up on the stand. You know, literally to be able to see that and to know that people gave money for that to happen, seeing the process from start to finish, it is incredible. And to literally even see people drinking the water, like to see the whole thing, is incredible. And one of the things that I love is the integrity of the ministry. Like we stopped to, on multiple occasions, to do videos to give updates to donors, right? You know, donors are essentially stakeholders. These are people who, you know, who they want to know what's happening with the donation. And this ministry literally multiple times going by to shoot video to say, hey, here's some of the progress, or this is what it's looking like. Here's what your donation is doing like right now. And so that kind of accountability and transparency and integrity tells you that yeah, this is so at any level that you get involved, whether you are on the ground going or whether you're just giving, you are actually part of what makes this whole thing move. So you could literally sit in one location and watch this thing unfold, like literally. And that is incredible. Like that to me, that blew me away. Because many times I'm leaving teaching for hours, and we get in the car and we're going to these places, like you know, we going to another point and then updating people, say, hey, here's what's happening today. Thank you for your support. Just want to give you an update. And we've done that multiple times. And so that tells me right there that, this ministry is very serious about doing what they tell people that they're doing.
Mhm.
They're not just talking, they're
Right.
doing it, and they're serious about actually doing what, when somebody says, hey, you know what, if I say I'm doing that I'm doing it. And that's
Mhm.
really what Theo Smith is about. They're really doing what they say they're doing. And so yeah, we'd love to see you. Definitely reach out to me, and I'll give you and I encourage all of you, if you want to know more about how you can give, how you can take part of it, take part, donate, whatever, let me know, because I promise you, you will be making a tangible difference in the lives of a lot.
Hallelujah.
And if that doesn't mean anything to you, then I don't know what to say. But it means a lot to me to know that some small thing that I do impacts a lot of people, right? Just that's incredible in and of itself, right? So yeah.
I just wanted to jump in there a little bit. If I have historically and still do, a lot of times churches or missions group reach out to me to say, how do we do this? So I have done a number of workshops, and if possible, I prefer to work with actual missions teams, those who are actually going to do the work. And if that's where your inquiry is, or someone's listening, I'm available to do that, because the kingdom is bigger than me and my vision. So if I can just help to empower and to equip other people to go out there and do missions, I'm all for it. Also, just to mention, every well we've born, our donors have given, what we've asked, but every well we've born so far has gone over budget, so to speak. Like the first one well, the survey where they said it would work, they had to immediately, when we were right there during hours and hours, start to bore someplace else. And then this past one of the past ones that we did on this trip, we have a couple of wells on this past trip. There was a huge rock when they got down to, like, I think it was like 20 or 30 something feet. There was this monstrous rock underground. And so they had to change the casing, going from this hard plastic casing. And you were able to witness the casing that the machine used to drill down into the ground to get to the water. So
Right.
we had to change our casing for about, I think it was maybe 12 actual, I don't know what the term is, but they had to go into meters. Using a metal casing. And we went down past 50 feet. And, that's like more than double what the distance into the earth would be, just to put a basic well there. And
Right.
so all of our wells, we've gone down at least 2, sometimes 3 times the so-called, normal level, because we desire to make sure that when we leave, that there's irrigation. And I didn't know any of this stuff when we first started doing this. There are levels of how far you can go to actually go from just supplying great water to irrigating the whole area. And so that's what we have been doing. So all of our wells have gone over budget, so to speak. And in terms of the estimates, but this is what we do. And so all of the contributions, it doesn't go for paychecks or anything like that. And like I said, Dr. Damon got to experience, from the time we land practically to the time we take back off to come back to the States, we're working, and we are enjoying each other as a team, as a ministry. We lock arms with the people, like he said, when we're out of class or service. we're actually going and spending time with the people who we are in fellowship with. And, you know,
Here is I think when we got to the school, when we started the project at the what's the school called again? It's called the
it's something nasty. It's gonna come to me in a minute. Something nasty school. I can't remember the beginning of the name, but let me look it up.
Yeah. It's the name is
community school. It's a community
Feminesi.
Yes, Feminesi school. And it is Feminesi school. It's a community school. And it was particularly endearing to the Conjues because Bishop Conjue said he started his family way back when in that community. Pastor Clarissa, his daughter, who's part of our team, she's our communications director and oversees our women's ministry. She remembers she was, I think the school, that the Feminesi school right across the street is where they used to live way back when. Right. And so that whole community is particularly endearing to them. And I just love what we're doing, and not so much just what we're doing, but I love the complete fellowship that we have with our family there in Zambia. It's just amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, some of the videos are well, they're a little slow uploading, but I wanted to show, I was going to show some of the boring videos, but they're a little slow uploading. But nonetheless, it was definitely was a great experience from start to finish to be able to see it and to see how it, again, it changed lives. Like it happened very quickly, and I'm not sure what the total cost is, but from a U.S. dollar standpoint, this is really pennies on the dollar compared to
what the value of what it does. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So definitely. And so I'm so grateful. I'm glad that we were able to have this conversation. We wanted to be able to do this while we were over there, but again, the internet is just not stable enough. What we're doing right now, we'd have never been able to pull that off. Yeah. And we even tried to do a little short video on my birthday. So I was over there on my birthday, and so it meant that much to me.
Tell the people that we did you right on your birthday, though.
Oh yeah. Okay. They took care of me. They did a little surprise. They made me believe that it was just going to be a little meeting, a business meeting. They drew me in, and but it literally meant that much for me to be there, spend my birthday in the capacity of serving and loving on people. For me, that was the best birthday that I'd ever had. So I was grateful for that opportunity to be in Africa. On my birthday was just beyond meaningful. So yeah. And so I got a little time, did some teaching that day, and so it wasn't an entirely free day for me, but we had enough time towards the afternoon to just relax, and so it turned out to be really great. And again, being on the Kafue River where we were, it's a really nice scene. And the last day we got to go out on a boat on the river, and I'm telling you, it's so beautiful. You don't want to move there just to get a boat to be on the river. Like it's so beautiful. And yeah. So again, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for joining us and telling us about Zambia and just introducing yourself even to this audience. And I'm sure people are going to want to know more about how they can get involved, and I'll be giving them that information. And we got people have even asked to say, hey, how can I come? How can I go? How can I go on one of those trips? And so who knows? We may be seeing a new crop of missionaries pop up.
Amen.
Yeah, and yeah. So we are grateful. We are definitely
My
grateful.
church fingers up again.
Yes, yeah. There you go.
One of our instructors, Dr. Sean Claybrooks, when we were setting the schedule and the agenda, her and her husband have been key to working with our donors here for the wells. And so there was concern about, she's going all the way to Zambia again. She's an instructor where she'll be teaching. Dr. Sean said, I don't want to teach. She did end up preaching on the Sundays, right? And the Saturday service. But she said, I don't want to teach. I want to sit. I want to be in the classroom, instruction. She just so enjoyed herself. So yes, people are welcome to come.
Yeah.
If you love Dr. Damon online, you would love to see him in action in the classroom where you are his student. It was amazing. And I told some of my friends, they were asking, checking in along the way. I said, I can't tell you the last time I've been sitting in this kind of environment where, my radars haven't been on. Like, I just totally I'm telling you, because, I'm a nitpicker. My there were no radars. There was no red lights going off. It was just so amazing. And I mean,
listen,
there were a couple of times when I was like, I want to take cover because I saw you about to tread some territory theologically that might raise some feathers. And you did what you had to do. And I said,
oh yeah,
you came all the way here. Do what you had to do. But the people
there was no territory that we didn't explore.
No,
and it was good. It was good, and you really do. Yeah, you got to tread. You got to navigate with wisdom and know how to tread waters carefully too, because culturally you want to make sure that that you're being received, and you don't want anybody shutting down on you. So it was definitely I could tell that it was challenging at times, but the Lord really blessed, and again, one of the things that I just loved is just it's Africa, and it sets in on you, it sets in on you, and I would love for more people to have that experience. If you've never been, just plan on it. I tell you, we laughed about this too, just about every night. Like, it is the motherland for a reason. Like, and
I know where you go.
One of the things that it is definitely the motherland. It is the motherland of all insects.
Like, and bugs.
Listen, don't do it now if you don't like insects and bugs, because they are there. Bugs you ain't never seen before are there. Bugs that look like they're like 3 and 4 hybrid bugs in one. they boy, I tell you, they are there, and definitely the mosquitoes. But I was prepared. Like, we had a packet. A survival kit.
That's what you gotta call it.
How to prepare for it. It's a certain kind of soap to use.
Yeah.
All of that. Otherwise, the mosquitoes will have a feast on you. So they didn't get me too bad. I mean, I got a couple of times, but that was it. I've gotten eaten up more in the Caribbean than I did in Africa, but I was more prepared for it. I did everything on that checklist. I got everything on the checklist, everything in the survival kit. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I was prepared. And but it's Africa, I'm telling you. And when you ride down that road, I seen ostriches on the side of the road, like hanging out, just ostriches. I was like, wow, just you see goat everywhere, and it starts setting in on you like this is.
What was the goat's name? John? It was the goat's name John?
Oh, the one that Bishop Conjuye's goat. Yeah,
yes. John. Walked right up to you, standing and looking at you.
That was the biggest goat I think I've ever seen in my life.
You have a picture of John, Mike?
You know what? I think I do have a picture of John. I do have a picture of John. He was definitely, without a doubt, the biggest goat. And I know some Jamaicans that would have been thinking pretty good about what they might do with John. And there he is. There he is.
Yes.
And, yes, indeed.
Just walking around like a common pet.
Yeah. Yeah, I said, boy, I can almost smell the curry goat just walking by. Yes, indeed.
We had a great trip, and I'm just so grateful that you came. And to those who want to continue to support this ministry and this work, we definitely are grateful and encourage you to do so. I tell people that this is an eternal investment.
Absolutely.
It's an eternal investment because when you look at the students sitting there in the classroom and then all of the other things that happen outside of the classroom, mostly you look at the students in the classroom and you're investing into their ability to receive what God has for them. It is eternal. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. And I pray that the Lord will continue to bless those of you. Bless you. Just bless you. Amen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much again for joining me here on UrbanLogia Live. And this won't be the last time we have you on.
Right.
But you have been an incredible blessing to me. I know your father is proud of you and your brothers and all of us are, again, I got a chance to see your leadership and the way that you release people to do what they do, and very unselfishly, and which is rare. You want to see people go forth and be used by God, and you're not promoting yourself, and you easily could. You've got all these connections. Almost everybody knows you, and you could easily just be pushing yourself. But you're really walking in real kingdom-minded ministry, and understanding the value of team building and partnership and how, and we say it all. I know it's cheesy now. It's teamwork makes the dream work, but as cheesy as that is,
it's what it is.
It's really true, and I've seen it firsthand. And so again, thank you so much. Thanks for joining, and we're going to go ahead and let the people go. But thank you all, and I'll be keeping you all up to speed with what's going on. I will be going back again, so think it not strange when you see me put up another spot fund saying, hey, I'm raising funds to go to Zambia. You all helped me to get there. I mean, you really did. And listen, I would. You told me that they would. You was like, your community will send you. Here's how you raise the funds. Here's the resource to use. Here's the wording to use. I promise you will get everything that you need to go. And sure enough, I mean, you were like, hey, look, I've seen your community. They respond really well, and they will they'll send you. And you guys did. I mean, you were more than enough to get there and back, and to be able to give, you know, and to do all that we did. And so I will be coming back, asking again, somewhere around the before the summer, to prepare for another trip there. And so I appreciate it in advance, because I know you guys are gonna come through again. And so I am grateful. I am extremely, extremely grateful. And so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Just a closing word for the people. If you do want to donate now, you are more than welcome to, and we appreciate. We do have a number of rolling projects that we are raising funds for, as well as traditionally so far we've had churches that have taken an assignment for a well. Like a church would say, okay, I would like to help have my church raise funds, and we will raise funds over the next few months for a well. But we've also had private individuals who have raised money for their own family, to put in the honor of a loved one who may have passed on or whatever. So these wells are very, very viable, and they're very, very doable. So if you're interested in funding a well, they will be going in communities, or we do needs assessment. We're setting up official needs assessment, but they will be going to schools, churches, communities, areas that need the wells. Thank you so much, and God bless you richly for helping us do what we do.
Wonderful. Blessings to you. God bless you.
But I think that we need to be equipped to the point that we are at least what Peter said. He said, be ready to give an answer, not get ready.